The NEOGEO Mini is a mini arcade / mini console that plays a large part of the SNK NEOGEO library. Besides the standard Japanese and international edition, there are 3 limited Samurai Shodown editions. A clear one, a blue one and a red one, all based on Samurai Shodown characters. These versions house the Japanese versions of the game, which is a plus for me. Today I'm reviewing the Haohmaru clear version. The packaging has the corresponding color and character art fitting this edition of the unit. Haohmaru is the main character of the Samurai Shodown franchise, and you can choose to represent him on the unit by changing the marquee. I already tried both marquees and added the SNK sticker to the control panel. These are all optional, of course. If you prefer it all clear, more power to you. There is this Haohmaru collector's card that has no purpose other than being a nice extra for the fans. The next thing got me a little confused. It's a plastic sticker that can be used as some sort of coaster or protector for the bottom of the unit. The artwork seems to be from Mark of the Wolves and not Samurai Shodown though. The unit comes with its own USB-C cable, without a brick mind you, and mini HDMI to HDMI cable. Which I absolutely love is that they added the NEOGEO logos on these cables. They also feel like quality and are in the corresponding color. For the red edition, these cables will be red, etc. The NEOGEO Mini has an aux out for audio besides USB-C and HDMI ports. A quick note is that it does not allow external volume control. Before we take a more detailed look at the unit itself, these are the controllers. I really dig the clear look of these, and the controllers played a big part in me choosing this edition. For die-hard NEOGEO fans who may have owned a home console back in the day or went to the arcades often, the controllers may be an immediate disappointment. The sticks have no micro switches and therefore aren't clicky. For me, it's not a problem because I didn't grow up with those controllers. I can only compare to the Retron 5 controller and state that yes, clicky thumbsticks might have been cool. The overall build quality is excellent, and like I said before, I really like the look and design of the controller. The controllers also have a USB-C connection, which is kind of a first, right? On the left side of the NEOGEO Mini there is a Player 1 controller port, and on the right side there is the Player 2 controller port. The buttons on the unit seem identical to those on the controller. I heard one complaint online that the button mapping isn't right, but I haven't had any problems at all. A really cool detail when you look at the console itself is the power button. It has a yellow-blue NEOGEO logo on it. Just a nice touch. One major difference between this version and the international version is that there is no LED light in the control stick. I'm not sure why. I'm a sucker for useless lights, but I can't say that this is a deal breaker. Like with the controllers, the unit itself feels quality. I'm not sure how else to express it other than to say it feels like it's built to last, but I'm not dropping it anytime soon. One very important thing to mention is that it does not have a battery compartment. To be able to play it, you have to always power it via USB-C, which makes this not a portable console, but just a mini console like the NES Classic and such. For some, this leg weighs heavier than for others. It has a 3.5-inch built-in screen for arcade play, and this is where we're going to talk about the unit in practice. If you sit at the desk and you have the unit right in front of you, the playing experience is excellent. It's like playing a Game Boy in an arcade machine with better graphics and arcade controls. The image of the screen is really sharp and colorful, and a 3.5 inch is absolutely fine for almost all of the games. Important to note here is that the stick on the control pad isn't clicky either, but it plays great. In a fighting game like King of Fighters, some kicks are just better and faster executed with the stick than the controller. It also feels really cool to see these beautiful sprites in control by this tiny stick and buttons. The stick itself may be a problem for people with ginormous hands, but I can't make a final judgment on that because it will differ per person. For me it was just fine. The controllers work arguably better for the shmups and run and guns on the NEOGEO. Using it with 2 controllers for co-op really turns it into a tabletop console, almost like a Nintendo Switch. In my previous video I stated that the screen isn't big enough for decent co-op, but that is if you stand in front of it. If you play together at a desk or kitchen table, having the unit roughly at chin height, it works absolutely fine. I'm having the most fun with it hooked up to an external screen though. First of all, this is a mini console. Like the NES Classic or PlayStation Mini, it's meant to represent the library of said console. NEOGEO consoles and games are so stupidly expensive that it remains out of reach for most of us mortals. The NEOGEO Mini is the solution if you want to add that library to your playing options. And why wouldn't you? These games are only the best looking 16-bit and 32-bit 2D games there are. Every retro gamer should have access to them. Sure, you could emulate some of it via a Raspberry Pi, but you wouldn't have an official SNK product to accompany your Nintendo, Sega and Sony products. I digress a little bit, because one of the points that kept coming up in other reviews is how awful the NEOGEO Mini looks on a bigger screen. Or if you connect it to your PC to capture footage. I'm going to let you be the judge of that. To me, it's really a matter of perspective. I can't imagine playing these games in the arcade back then in 1080i or 4K. To me, the look of it just adds to the authenticity. And is it just me, or have those reports on its awfulness been extremely exaggerated? It looks absolutely fine to me. The graphics of the games are so good that it outweighs the quality of the output at every turn. That being said, let's look at the interface of the unit. It's all pretty basic. You can change the language to English, because stock it will be in Japanese. You can adjust the volume here, which is a minor complaint. You know, I said there not being external volume controls. Well, that's what I meant. You can save states obviously, and there is a graphics smoothener. Here you can see it with the smoothener on and then with the smoothener off. Why would anyone ever use something like this? Completely redundant if you ask me. But what makes this unit worth the purchase beside the gimmicks and lack of settings? Like mentioned before, it's the games. I adore 2D fighters, so for me it was like walking into a well-stocked toy store. But there is some nice variety in the lineup as well. For me, being able to play these games on official hardware was worth the purchase alone. The Raspberry Pi argument would have no hold on me, same as the HDMI output argument. Maybe it's my frame of reference, but it looks good enough. It just does. I can imagine if you work with Elgatos, Framemeisters and other expensive upscalers, you have to mention a dip in quality compared to what you're used to. But it's not a final nail in the coffin as a lot of reviewers make it out to be. I can't express enough how much fun I'm having with this and what it adds to my game room. It's not a portable unit, but playing it at my desk, being powered by my PC, or at the kitchen table offers a different experience to playing it with a controller on an external monitor. It sounds weird, but if you switch between these playing styles, it almost feels like you bought two consoles for the price of one. Before we're taking a look at a large selection of games available on here, I want to give my final verdict. The NEOGEO Mini may not be something for purists or people really invested in upscaling technology, but for everyone else, it's a total blast. I just can't imagine someone not having fun with this. You need to experience these games, and it just feels right doing it on an official SNK console, playing the original Japanese versions as well. At roughly 150 euros for the set, I think it's value for money and a cooler addition to your game room than most of the other mini consoles. The NEOGEO Mini Samurai Shodown edition is highly recommended. I'm going to say thank you for listening for now and enjoy an upcoming extensive look at the game library. Stay shiny, guys!
武士道とは死ぬことと見つけたり、修羅道とは倒すことと見つけたり、我悪鬼が節となりて目の前の敵すべてを切る。偶然ではなかった。
見つけたり、修羅道とは生きることと見つけたり。吉野、いざ尋常に一本目勝負。一本。
They existed. Those blinded by ambition. Those consumed with vengeance. But here, they do not exist.
Metal Slug.
Thank you. Heavy machine gun.
Ninja Commando.
you.